But
No, well, now you're no, now you're streaming, so you don't want
okay.
to do that.
Yeah, well, normally when live streaming isn't available right now. Yeah, you liar. What?
Sorry,
YouTube
so we're live.
lies.
We're live on Twitch right now. Maybe. Oh yeah, we're live on Twitch.
And Infinity Nan 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 Yan. Uh,
All right.
that's what YouTube told me.
Okay.
I'll refresh the screen. Okay, I see us on YouTube.
Do you want me to run this opener real fast, there, Tim?
Oh, I'm typing it up real quick here.
Perfect. Oh, I see it. Thank you. There you go.
Do we have anything from the community?
I'm sure.
No, there's
no,
about 3 things.
We didn't post out about a pre-show.
We do have 3 things though.
Yeah,
we do have about 3 things from them. So.
Okay, that's good. I like it.
Okay, I'm ready.
And 3, 2.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 312, recorded on January 28th, 2021. On tonight's episode, we discuss Animal Crossing news, discussions about GameStop, and what we're looking forward to 2021. More from the community and so much more. Jesse, you know what to do.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 312. Man, I am so happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're tuning in, but of course, I'm more happy because I'm hanging out with 2 of the coolest guys around the internet. And of course, I'm going to head over to the man behind the soundboard, the man behind the booth, the man that makes us all sound fantastic every single day, Mr. Jesse Waldeck. Jesse, how are you today, sir?
I'm wondering how much caffeine you've had in the last hour, because that was a lot of words in a lot of not a lot of time.
I know, right? I speak very fast normally, interestingly enough. But I am drinking right now a red. I don't even see that. It's a red Irish ale. That I bought like a jug of it, like a gallon, like a what do they call those things we buy them?
A grinder?
No, a grinder is something completely different. A growler.
Growler, thank you. I was trying
but
to
a
get
grinder.
It sounds like a name of a Pokemon that you can't pronounce.
No, that sounds like
grinder
sounds like
is also,
wrong,
I think, a sandwich too.
I also think it's potentially a website that you shouldn't be going to if you are a married individual. But I bought a growler of red Irish ale about a week ago, but I forgot to finish it. So like once you open it, it like loses it. It gets flat real fast. It's just like a week-old flat Irish red, and it's not great. But I digress. Jesse, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. It's been a really busy week at work with we did a release last week. The business didn't like how it performed, so we had to roll it back, and now we're trying to put fixes in it to roll it out again on the second week in February to go through this headache again. We've been calling it Groundhog's Day because we've been going through the whole thing. We had a year-long pilot in a small, different environment last year, and we're just going through the same thing over and over again. So I told my boss maybe February 3rd will be the magic day when this is all done.
Sure. Well,
because the day after Groundhog Day.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, hopefully it's a magical day. Speaking of person who is absolute pure magic, and we're happy that he is kind of like a Groundhog Day and that he's here every single week, bringing that sultry sounds. Of course, Mr. Timothy Alf. Tim, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm on my jet plane as usual, as you can hear it in the background. You know, the jet engines there, and flying from Minnesota back to Detroit, and taking care of business and stuff. No, I'm sure. I'm always looking forward to this week and look forward to talking to you guys. Missing Marty, of course, and having him here, but I guess we don't have to hear about any dumpster fires today, so we can.
Yeah, I mean he's been coming in pretty hot. I listened to last week's episode, and he gave me a lot of grief. So we'll talk a little bit about Mega Man and woohoo, American Dream. Here's a meat stick I'm gonna eat. Right? So I don't know, right? Like, I'm so mad about everything. Why won't Nintendo do what I want?
I ordered some of those meat sticks that he had, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm actually disappointed. I was expecting more.
It's unfortunate you're disappointed by a meat stick, Jesse. Speaking of, let's transition
That's what
on,
she
ladies
said.
and gentlemen. That's what she said. Ba-dum-bum. Oh,
Wow.
well, ladies and gentlemen, we have definitely got a show for you. Not a ton of big drops of information, but I think some great discussion. I'm really happy. I'm excited to have a good discussion. I think that's what we're really into this week. But of course, let's jump right into it, shall we? And of course, this week and every single week, the news is brought to us by you fine folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Huge thank you to our newest patron, Metroid Hunter 101. Thank you so much for jumping in. And Metroid Hunter
Nintendo nostalgia.
I know, Nintendo nostalgia. There we go, right? It joins the over 100 patrons that support us every single month to help us keep this dumpster fire rolling down the street as it does ad-free, but we are so thankful that you're here. If you're interested, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Helps us pay for the lights. And to be honest, folks, that's why Marty's not here today. We can only pay for three hosts, not four this time. We've really cutting corners. So,
but my light works
getting
really
expensive.
well. See, I can turn it on and off now.
right there, you go.
Yeah, it was getting expensive.
It's getting super expensive, but I digress. I'm kidding, of course. Thank you to everyone that supports us. I greatly appreciate it, gentlemen. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let me tell you. Let's spin a tale, will we? Spin a tale. So a couple of moments, a yarn, if you would. Thank you. Sit back for a little bit of Justin's yarn telling. About an hour ago, before the show, jumped in the hot tub with the family. A little bit of a soak. It's kind of a little bit of fun, but it's cold up here in Canada. It's cold. The whole family's out of the hot tub. My wife just got out, and she just sent me a message that said, "Could you please come close the hot tub lid because it's super cold outside?" So, gentlemen, I'm going to step off camera for about 3 minutes. Can you guys cover the first topic while I go close the hot tub lid? And because that's a good husband, you know what I'm saying? It's a good
First world problems.
Right? Happy wife, happy life. So I'm going to step away for a couple of moments. I'll be right back, but I'm excited to hear about all this Animal Crossing news.
No problem. Yeah, I could talk about it a little bit too, since I've been actually jumping into a lot of it today. I was just telling these guys during pre-show, as I was trying to finish up real quick, I'm trying to rebuild some of my resources for the upcoming stuff. But basically, Animal Crossing New Horizons is we got our update today, actually, the 28th. And preparing us for the festivals that are coming up. So we got new reactions that are coming out, purchased with in-game bells from the shelf at Nook's Cranny for a limited time. I didn't see them yet, and I don't see a date in our notes yet. But Jesse, do you know if there's a date on when that's supposed to happen? Because I didn't see them in the store today.
I don't. There are dates for a lot of these things in the press release, but this wasn't one of them.
Okay, yeah, this is. We'll get the in-game bells.
It'll probably be closer to the 15th.
Yes, so we'll get new reactions. So Feeling It, Let's Go, Viva, and Confetti. So some new reactions for that festival that's coming up. We'll be getting new clothing that will come in the store starting February 1st. Available at the Able Sisters shop for a limited time as well, probably through the whole festival time. And then some seasonal items that you can pick up now in Nook Stop and Resident Services and through Nook Shopping. Chocolate hearts, heart-shaped bouquets will be available in February 1st through the 14th. And then other items related to Groundhog Day and Big Game Celebration will be available for certain periods during January and February. So, in fact, one of the seasonal items that I picked up today was the football rug, the American football rug, which looked pretty cool. So, you can get set up for like Super Bowl if you
Except for they can't use that word, so that's why they called it the Big Game Celebration.
Sure, that's true. The festival event that's coming up, and a lot of this stuff is preparing for
Festival.
Festival. Yes, February 15th, and it'll be Dancer. Was that Pave?
Pave scares the living bejeebus out of me.
Nice gyrating hips there on Pave there. In the preview video, Dancer Pave will arrive at your island's plaza to usher in some confetti and carnival spirit. And then you can capture colorful feathers floating on your island with your net and trade them to Pave to receive passionate dance number in return, if you want that, I guess. So that could be the scary part, right, Jesse? It's like,
at least it was in the little video they put out.
Yeah, it's like awfully close to, trading in dollar bills for a dance, That's what. Of course, I don't know anything about that.
This is Dad's After Dark Dad Crossing.
Right. That'll be a crossover promotion there. And then they did announce also Animal Crossing's Sanrio collaboration packs now coming here in the U.S. They were available in Japan only, was it? And hello.
Justin Shrunk.
You here to talk about Animal Crossing with us?
No.
No? Do you want to talk about Animal Crossing?
Sure.
Okay. Did you see the new updates today?
No.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. We were just kind of going over some of the things. Have you heard about the new updates coming in the next month for the dance festival? Wow, your dad's not keeping you up on this stuff? Oh, man, what the heck? We're going to have to fire him.
Rude.
What were you asking her?
We were asking her if she was
knew
aware.
any of the
Oh, it was.
Yeah, she knew any of the Animal Crossing stuff, and you haven't told her anything about this stuff.
I haven't shown her the new. Because here's the truth, folks. I'm not impressed with the new update.
Oh,
They were too busy with the hot tub.
We were.
Yes.
We were too busy with the hot tub. Yeah. So what am I missing on the hot tub? Or the hot tub? The update, folks.
We just thought we went over most of the things that are happening and the things that you're not impressed with, apparently.
Yeah.
And then we were just getting to the whole Sanrio collaboration packs that will be now coming to the U.S. Starting March 26th at Target stores for $5.99 per pack. And it contains all 6 amiibo cards from this unique Sanrio collaboration series. And cards can be used in
for those who don't know what Sanrio is, that's the media company behind Hello Kitty and a bunch of other characters. Hoping for an Agretzko character, which I highly doubt will happen, but that would be amazing if it did.
Yes, and cards can be used in compatible games, with more information to be revealed with the next free update scheduled in March.
Now, the free update in March. Now that had my attention.
Yes, and that's because it had the mushroom and the star on it.
Yeah.
So, which everybody knows is the Mario stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Mecca asked if it started yet. If you're talking about the Sanrio stuff, that isn't available until March 26th.
Yep.
But the
update happened today,
Mm-hmm.
and then the festival stuff starts February 1st, and then February 15th, the festival event will happen with dancer Pave, which Justin, you missed.
He goes, no, he was just talking about the podcast. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes in. You didn't miss much.
Yep.
So. I wasn't. It just here's the thing about the updates. I guess I can call them themed events, right? The Halloween one really got me. I was like, that was a really cool one. That Halloween was awesome. Like, I was in daily on Halloween. I was doing all this stuff. The Christmas one did not get me as much. And I do like Christmas, and I like the snow look. And
both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it just didn't kind of get me as much. The New Year's one, not as much. So this update for February, not really super excited for it. Now, again, the one in March associated to Mario, like, I'm going to be back in, like, Flynn. I also thought of some interesting stuff, like the Groundhog Day, the big game. Nice way to walk around being called the Super Bowl. I thought was great.
Yeah.
So I like, and some people, like, I have fallen off
Chiefs.
the animal. Go Chiefs indeed. Go Chiefs indeed. And that's the end of our sports ball talk here on Nintendo Dads. That's the
sports ball
meets our 2021 criteria or quota for sports ball.
Come see me for the sports ball talk. We'll talk.
I have fallen off pretty hard on Animal Crossing, if I'm honest. So I'm hoping that the March event with the Mario stuff brings me back in. That I'm pretty excited about. But yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I mentioned when you walked away that I was telling you guys earlier, I was trying to rebuild some of my resources, trying to get some of those things done, rebuild my Bell account, because it was getting close to the 1 million Bell mark. So I had to keep it above the 1 million Bell mark. So because I've been spending a lot of money and stuff, and it's actually been nice to not have to worry about the bells and just being able to do upgrades or whatever here and there.
Yeah.
But anyways, just I've been enjoying it, not as much as before. Like you said, I don't think I fell off like you did, but I go in there every other day probably just to check on seeing what's, make sure I'm not missing something, especially when something like this happens. I'll go check and see. There's a few items like the football stuff I'm interested in because of sports ball. I like that kind of stuff. But I think I was hurt, if you will, by the Christmas stuff, the tree festival or whatever you called it. The toy day, because I was expecting Halloween type levels for Christmas and didn't get it. So I was highly disappointed in that. And so I'm just kind of like,
They didn't give you the whole month to prepare. It only gave you like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. And I still I did not get any, I would say maybe a couple things for that represent kind of like the Christmas side of things. Like I got stockings and a wreath. That's it.
Yeah.
So I did not get any Christmas trees, didn't get any of the presents, didn't get any of that. I couldn't find any of them, couldn't get any balloons I popped, didn't have any of that stuff in it. So that left a bad taste in my mouth.
Sure.
Trying to go in there all those times like I did with Halloween, and Halloween was a blast.
Yeah.
Because I was able to keep decorating. I kept building up towards the holiday. When holiday came, my island was full of Halloween decorations, and I thought the Christmas was going to be the same, and it wasn't, and that was disappointing.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like I enjoyed their Thanksgiving event or Turkey Day event more than I enjoyed their Christmas. And I'm not even American; it's not even Thanksgiving for me. But like I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. Unless they learn to kind of coexist two events at the same time, overlapping, like a lot of like we have to do in real life planning. The Turkey Day is what probably squished all the timing of the holidays.
Yeah.
Right.
Toy Day stuff.
I am so interested in every time I watch these trailers, which I think they do a good job of cutting it together. They're usually like 90-second teasers of trailers, right? But like this one, when it came to the end, of course, they show March, and it's like next free update March, right? The word that always keeps drawing my attention is free.
Free, yep.
Right? Because inevitably, if you keep promoting a free update, there'll be a point where it is no longer free. Right? And then there'll be distinctions of free update and DLC updates. And I'm really interested to see where they turn that corner in Animal Crossing. I'm also disappointed that we're nearly a year into Animal Crossing. And there are so many quality of life things that are just needing to be updated. And they still haven't done that. And I don't think that should be part of a DLC patch, right? I don't think that should be a paid for quality of life updates. I don't know if they may or may not do that. But like, they're just some basic, like I should be able to select multiple items in the Able Sisters. Like some really simple things like that just boggle me.
Yeah, I think what I would like to see if I were in their shoes is do the Mario promotion, promote the heck out of that thing, kind of make it the last promotion like that's free, and then do one big free major update like you're talking about with the
like quality of life
enhancements. And announce it that way. Here's the last big thing that we're, or maybe there's a couple of them. We're going to do the next couple builds are going to be quality of life, or it's going to do this, that, and another thing. And then we are planning to do DLCs going forward. And and then show like a small clip of future, summer DLC or something like that, Yeah. So
I very much believe it's going to be a season pass. Right, like I think I mentioned that in our predictions, but I think that's how they're going to do it. Instead of a DLC, it's like a season. Like it's taking that whole like travel idea, like a season passport or season, your
timeshare.
Like something like that. Like they're going to lean into it, so it's not called like a DLC pack, but rather a season pass or something. In my opinion, I think that's what they're going to do. So,
and then there's always that I had for the Indad Crossing crew there. They had predictions of what they would expect from. Animal Crossing coming up in 2021, and I said that in the summer I expected the gems to come because I guess that was a big thing in the other Animal Crossings.
Okay.
Being able to kind of like go to the rocks and get gems out of them, and then do things with those. And then the other thing is I predicted in the spring that we would get more fruits And then because there's also the perfect fruit that we don't have in the current game.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Eric Peterson in the chat on YouTube asks, do you think we'll see a Zelda crossover event with Animal Crossing this year, of course coinciding with the 35th anniversary?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, like it feels. I think Nintendo does a pretty good job of cross pollination, right? Where they can, right? To kind of help promote their other games. So I mean, you don't make it evasive, right? Like here's the hero's tunic.
Yes.
And maybe there's a quest. Like your activities for that month is a quest that you have to go do something, right? And you have to build a treasure chest. It almost writes itself in a lot of ways.
Well, we haven't gotten a lot of the themes yet, right? Like we hadn't passed Animal Crossing, so and I think it's going to start with the Super Mario stuff.
Yeah. And
then we'll lead into the other events, I'm sure.
Yeah. It'll be super interesting to see what they actually do for the Mario event. Has my I am going to be all in on that one. So great question though, Eric Peterson.
You missed our discussion about our thoughts on Pave. Do you have opinions?
At the hip gyrating dancer?
The hip gyration? That's one of the reasons I didn't show it to my children.
There you go. All right.
Right? Those are difficult conversations. Why is that bird making that gyration? I have no idea.
I associated it to because you have to get feathers and give the Pave feathers to get prizes. And I associated that and she'll do a dance for you.
With Mardi Gras beads?
And I was like, that sounds a little close to like dollar bills and getting a dance.
Yeah.
Or now $20 bills now, I guess.
Right.
Not like I do that kind of stuff.
No. I mean, it's not like he's on the Grindr sandwich app. I mean,
$20 per grinder.
Exactly. Oh man, I really think we should start opening up our fans only Nintendo Dad site like we talked about. Oh well, that is the Animal Crossing news. We got some other news I just put in the docket, folks. This is a bit of a turn that I totally forgot came up, but I wanted us to discuss. Earlier this week, Nintendo announced a Monster Hunter Nintendo Switch coming to all regions except for North America. Monster Hunter Rise, new Nintendo Switch SKU. A couple things I want to make sure that people are aware of this. At this point, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe someone could do a quick check of this. It has not officially been announced for North America. It has been confirmed for Japan, has been confirmed for Europe, and has been confirmed, I believe, for Australia. So a couple things to talk about this Monster Hunter Rise Switch. The limited edition includes a download code for the game and the deluxe kit DLC and bonus material like special armor for your Palico and Palamute. The other piece that is also available, or something else that you can also pick up, is a actual Nintendo Switch Pro controller that features Magnamol on it as well. These will be available on launch date on March 26th. Again, we do not yet have an answer for North America. And this is the Joy-Cons. This is black and gray Nintendo Switch, similar to the ones you saw at launch. However, the Joy-Cons have decals on it. The front of the actual dock has decals and designs, and the back has a really nice, cool decal and design, really closely associated with the Monster Hunter scenario or Monster Hunter
you
series.
Mentioned white and gray, but there's also the gold accents on it too.
Yes, the gold accents. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the Joy-Con right, has like a compass rose around the analog stick, where the north, south, east, west are in the gold and the diagonals are in the silver black. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this?
I want it.
You do?
I so want it. I was looking at ways like when it was just Japan, I was trying to figure out like how can I get my hands on this? Is Play Asia going to have it? Is somewhere else going to have it? I've been toying around, and now that Europe has it, I've been toying with a site that allows you to order things from European websites from this. They're the middleman for you. Mm-hmm. They'll order it for you, it gets to their warehouse, and then they ship it off to you. I'm toying around with that. I'm testing it out on the Bowser's Fury. 3D because of the Steelbook. I'm testing it out on there to see how that service works. and also how much it cost. So,
Mhm.
but I want it here in the U.S. I don't think I'm going to do this thing I'm testing out with a larger item like that.
Mhm.
If it comes to the U.S., I I'll be darn close to pre-ordering it or being there to buy it. If I don't get it, I won't be too heartbroken because then I'll be hoping for the next thing, which I'm hoping would be a Zelda
Sure.
themed one. But and I'm excited to see they got a Pro controller as well.
Yeah.
That's themed. So we haven't
That's
seen
the.
one of those in a long time.
Am I correct? Again, chat, keep me honest here. I believe that is the first Pro controller back, like redesign or back to market since Xenoblade since Smash. Sorry, since Smash Ultimate. We did not have a Pro controller in 2020 for sure, and I don't think we had one in
Most of 2019 either. Yeah.
2019 either. So this is, I thought it was interesting. I think it looks good. I'm still using my Splatoon one from a while ago, but I'm like, these things are starting to get worn down. So.
Yes. And I just got a Pro controller. It's upstairs actually, but
Nice.
but I would, if I don't get the Switch, I will certainly try to get that Pro controller some way somehow with the designs on it because it is nice.
It is good looking. Yeah, it's
sharp. I like the black and gold accents and although black and red are mainly my favorite colors, which going back to the whole Mario themed one, I really liked because of it was mostly red with the black accents on it. I dug it because of that. It fits my colors that I like. This one even more so has me like almost on the steps of trying to figure out how to import it. That's
yeah. You know, the interesting thing, Tim,
how much I like
Tim,
it, but I'm trying to hold back and waiting and hoping that it'll come to North America.
Yeah, well, and that's the interesting thing, Tim. Like, I know, for example, the Fortnite one was EU for quite a while, was what was posted. And then it was all of a sudden like, oh, nope, now it's available, right, in America. So I don't know if they're all of a sudden just going to have that drop.
Probably so like a month before.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So I want us to kind of sit in this pocket for a couple moments here. And I want to have a little chat with the two of you. Like, let's discuss. So 2020, we get no new Nintendo Switch. I apologize. We got the Animal Crossing SKU, so I apologize. Let me back that up. 2021, in February 12th, we're going to be getting the Mario 35th Anniversary Red SKU. Okay?
But yes.
A month and a half later, Nintendo is putting out another SKU, which is Animal Crossing. Sorry, I apologize, which is Monster Hunter. What is going on with these SKUs, and what does this mean?
It sounds like maybe Monster Hunter was originally supposed to be earlier and maybe got delayed, or the Mario game did.
Okay.
Yeah, the Mario one I think definitely did. I think we were all expecting or had speculated that the Mario stuff got pushed, that it was going to happen earlier in 2020 or maybe towards the end of 2020.
Yeah.
Rather than, well, I guess it did kind of happen towards the end of 2020, but we expected that there was going to be probably more happening, and it happened a lot later in 2020 into 2021. So, and we kind of guessed that a lot of things are getting pushed into 2021. Mm-hmm. Now, the Monster Hunter thing, I think, unless that game got pushed, I don't remember. Did it get delayed? I
think they just didn't officially announce it until they knew it was ready.
Yeah. Because maybe that was supposed to come out in 2020, but they get pushed. Because
I think a lot of things did that. They just, you can't call it a delay if it was never fully announced.
Correct. So. Yeah. So it's probably going to seem like we're going to get a lot of stuff this year because of things that spilled over and then things that are planned. And then hopefully it'll be enough for everybody is my thing, because that's what I'm worried about, especially after seeing what's happened with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Just shortages of supply or people buying it up to try to sell for a profit. That's what I'm afraid of, because it's like, okay, I've kind of settled that I'll eventually get the newer consoles one day. I don't need it right now because of timing anyways. But when it comes to the Nintendo platforms, it's the one console I want to make sure I have, and I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get it day one because of all the craziness that's happened.
Sure, yeah. So I apologize, Mecha Dragon. Oh, Mecha Dragon's in the chat. Mecha Dragon, I was going to see you as well. Third strongest mole statement means no Switch Pro. So let me put a little bit of a tinfoil hat on, will we? A little bit of a crazy, but also a little bit of business, Justin. This is very, very interesting that we have 2 Nintendo Switch SKUs that are happening at approximately weeks before the end of Nintendo's fiscal year. So here's what we do know, actually, is that the Monster Hunter stuff in Japan is going to sell like gangbusters, like hotcakes, like it is going to just go absolutely bonkers. That demographic in that area eats it up. So to be able to put out a SKU specific to Monster Hunter to that audience, they know that there's a want for it. That is going to sell exponentially. Just even look at, and maybe you're like, what are you talking about, Justin? Monster Hunter is so niche. Do you remember when the Monster Hunter demo came out and we all tried to go to the eShop and get it? And it was a queue? It was a digital queue? You stood in line for hours to get it? It's because Monster Hunter is huge.
And it's gotten bigger here in the U.S. for sure.
And that's exactly it. It's gaining momentum here, right? And let's not forget we had that Monster Hunter movie. Like it's beginning to create more of a worldwide saturation.
Oh,
right?
That was a thing. I forgot about that.
I don't even know if that came out yet. Oh, no, it did. It came out in December, right?
It did.
I'm waiting for that to come on some streaming service. We should watch that all together. How much fun would that be?
Oh, we can do that with certain services. They do that. I don't know. It depends on what service that'll be on. I know Disney Plus has a service.
Yeah.
Where you can watch things together.
Yeah. We should do the Monster Hunter.
I don't know how that
movie.
works, but I have seen that.
I think Vudu has it too. So if you bought the movie, you can actually have. Yeah, we could talk about that.
So this is coming out like the last Friday before of Nintendo's fiscal year. It's March 26th. This is the same spot that Animal Crossing was essentially in last year. This is going to have a massive boost to Nintendo. Plus 6 weeks earlier, you're coming out with this Mario 35 Switch. Boom! Big hit. So what does this mean? The question is...
That's like 6 million units in less than 2 months.
Yep. So the question is, what does this mean for the Nintendo Switch Pro? 2 thoughts here, okay? Stacking these two, you would bring out a iteration of a console when you're dropping, right? You need a boost. You're not seeing the sales numbers. Let's reiterate. Let's have a new version. People will go buy it, okay? Nintendo's not seeing that drop, and they're not going to see that drop with these 2 consoles for sure. So a couple theories here. Theory number 1, they need to get rid of a backlog of Nintendo Switches to prepare for Nintendo Switch Pros. They've got a backlog of stock. They need to kind of move that shit, the what they've designed or built to be able to make room. I think what this definitely means is that you're not getting a Nintendo Switch Pro in the first 2 quarters of 2021. And that this is more likely, if we're going to see a Nintendo Switch Pro, I think it's going to be the back half of the year, probably in a September or October timeframe, is probably where we're going to see that, if indeed we see it. I think dropping 3 consoles within like the first half of the year is not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't mean we're not getting one this year. If we do get one, and I think it'll be later, probably that November slot that people like the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Wii U, even the Wii and PS3 were all released in that general area.
Yeah.
Not sure about the 360, but that was a year earlier. But
I wouldn't be shocked, Jesse. And I think you're right. Like I do think that that in that time space is important. The Switch Lite was released in the middle of September. Nope, it was announced in June. It was September.
Yeah, it was with the Zelda game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a Switch Pro released around that time frame. The reason being is it basically gives 2 months to ensure your stock is prepared for Black Friday, for that time frame, as opposed to Xbox and PlayStation literally walking into a shortage and high demand, right? Which then, of course, drives up demand, which, of course, drives up scalpers, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if you see it in a September or October timeframe. Third Strongest
True.
Mole says here, that's what I'm thinking. Who's buying a Switch special edition and then a Pro a few months later? I 100% agree. But the fact that they're stacking these right before their fiscal quarter, like, that is a banger. And just watch these sales numbers for that edition. In Japan, it is going to light that world on fire.
Yep.
Anyone want to disagree with me or say I'm wrong?
I'm just
no. I agree.
trying to think of it. Yeah.
And they say, like, I wouldn't surprise me if they have a Dragon Quest themed one coming out whenever Dragon Quest 12 comes out, because that's the exact same reasoning. Because that's it's again similar to Monster Hunter. It's growing in popularity here, but it has always been a juggernaut in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say that the only disagreement I have is the name Switch Pro. I think we need to start going forward calling it the Super Switch. Going forward.
I don't like that name at all.
The Super Nintendo Switch. How's that? Is that better?
I like that. That's slick. That is
SNES, SNS, the SNS.
Gesundheit.
Super Nintendo Switch.
The sneeze.
Okay, I just had this like epiphany that hit me.
Okay.
Do you think if we ran the Nintendo model that they ran for, or the way they did their year for Super Mario's 35th, could we see a Legend of Zelda Switch edition in February of next year, and it's the same time they drop Breath of the Wild 2?
Oh,
we can see. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Super Switch in Breath of the Wild 2 at the same time?
Yeah.
I think that's almost an inevitability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I was leaning for more for my predictions this year.
Yeah.
And probably rather than thinking businessly, I was more hoping for it.
Yeah.
So happening, March of this year, but seeing now that we've got these two consoles dropping, Nintendo does crazy stuff. They could pop in anything that unexpectedly that wouldn't make sense to us, but they just do it.
So far, both Switch models has dropped with a Zelda game, so why not the third?
Yeah. So I mean,
great point.
with COVID pushing everything, even though we thought maybe they would have done the Zelda 2 back at the end of last year and it got pushed to this March, maybe it's just getting pushed until next March, 2022. Maybe 2022 is the year of Zelda and Metroid, if we're lucky with Metroid, or it's, did I freeze or Justin freeze?
I think Justin froze.
Okay. Yeah, it could be just, depending on how big those titles are, it may be Breath of the Wild 2 next year, and then 2023 is Metroid. So.
Welcome back, Justin.
Thank you. I appreciate it, gentlemen. I was saying, Tim, you're really keeping that Metroid flame alive, aren't you?
Well, and I don't know if you heard my last part is like, maybe if it's big titles per year, that Metroid 2, or excuse me, Breath of the Wild 2 is 2022, and then Metroid 4 is 2023.
Yeah.
With Mario somewhere in there, then that makes sense as well, because it could have been just pushed along, because of everything else. But it's hard to speculate because of that, but it's still fun to speculate,
Yeah, exactly.
I would hope for the Super Nintendo Switch this year, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. As what, Third Strongest Mole asked, would you still buy, the themed and then still get a Pro? Heck yeah, I still would. So.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I have no interest in either special edition. I like how the Monster Hunter looks, but I'm not going to pick it up. But I am definitely going to save up for that inevitable Switch Pro, which I'm still going to call it the Mark III until it gets an official name.
I like Mark III.
I will not call it that.
You don't want to call it Super Nintendo Switch? Come on,
no.
It's fine.
My OG Switch, much like Marty's OG Switch, is making a god-awful sound. Like, that fan is just, it goes hard. And I'm like, it's going to go. So I know I'm going to have to get a new Switch. I was hoping I'd be able to kind of like last all the way until the Mach 3 or Mark III version. But I feel like I'm gonna have to pull the trigger. So now it's just gonna be like, which versioning do I want? Do I want to find the Animal Crossing one?
Or do you want to go colorblind?
I asked my wife Jody. I said, like, do you like this kind of red one? She's like, that doesn't look good at all. I was like, well, apparently that's not the one we're gonna go with.
So I have a confession to make. That's really not my furnace you're hearing in the background. That's really my switch going off.
That's hilarious. That is awesome. Speaking of crazy things happen over the world in Nintendo, the results from the Super Mario Brothers 35th World Count Challenge. There were 5,363,696 Bowsers were defeated. Every player who defeated at least one Bowser during the event will receive 350 platinum points. Jesse, you're our resident Mario 35 World person. What was this like for you?
I don't. I only played like 2 games until I finally got one Bowser down, and then as a chain reaction, I think I got like 10 Bowsers down, and then I never went back. So I only played it like on the first or second day.
Fair enough. And
then what I found interesting is around the 20. What's today? The 28th. So around the 23rd, there was articles saying that there was only 1.5 million Bowsers were taken down. So we need to start getting our game going.
Start getting it done, son.
But those numbers were as of the 20th. So it was already almost a week old. So I'm like, I bet we already passed it. This is just old numbers. So I wasn't worried. And we almost surpassed the goal by 2 million Bowsers.
Yeah, because gosh forbid if you didn't do it, you wouldn't get your non-actual currency, but a fake currency digitally that they give you that they encourage you to spend on more of their stuff.
Exactly.
Right. Confession. I have played the Super Mario 35 thing about twice. And I was like, yep, that's a thing. Moving on. Like, I haven't cared. So everyone's like, they're taking it away. I was like, good, I get a square back. Cool. I will fill that with something else I enjoy. All right. Excellent.
Dragon Quest 12.
Apex Legends. Coming out next week. Tuesday. Watch for it.
We got to hope for something sometimes.
Hey, I'm happy to take bets. If anyone wants to bet against me, who wants to short stock me on this one, huh? Speaking of short stock,
it's not coming out.
You want to bet me on this one? Who wants to bet? I'll bet.
I'll bet you.
Okay, what do
you
want to
bet? It's not coming out this season.
You tell me what you want to bet.
So how long the seasons go for?
Seasons go for 3.5 months.
Okay, so if it doesn't come out on February 2nd, then we gotta wait until
summer. It'll come out like middle of May.
Middle of May. Okay. I'm saying it won't come out until middle of May.
Okay. What would you like to bet, Tim? And I'm going to let you choose a prize because inevitably you'll be having to do it this week.
Okay.
That's how confident I am. I'll let you think on that if you want.
What are the stakes here? What have you bet before? So I don't care.
So when I have bet with Marty, we have made a bet that he buys me a game, but of one of his favorite games that I have to that I play. So like last time it was Sonic Mania, and I was like, I hate Sonic Mania. He was like, I'm buying it for you. You have to play it.
Because you won.
Because I won. So the prize there was basically I get a game, but I let him choose it.
Okay.
So I'll let you think about that one.
Okay.
And then decide what you'd like from me. Doesn't matter. You're going to be paying anyways. All right. All right, gentlemen. Let's talk about and chat. Let us know. What do you think you should be paying? What do you think? The bet here will be? But let's talk about GameStop, will we?
Again.
Let's talk about GameStop again and stocks. Jesse, what has happened with GameStop stocks? GameStop stocks.
Weird things. We actually brought it up a few weeks ago when the former Chewy executives were put on the board, and the stock price like tripled within a week, and we thought that was amazing. But it is since gone up tenfold, literally. I don't. I kind of have a rough idea of what's going on. I am not a stock market person,
Yeah. Okay.
but I can probably try to explain what I know. Unless you have a better, you probably have a better way to explain it.
I can put it pretty simply. There's short stock. Short stock is essentially the idea of following a company that a hedge fund or an investor who believes that a stock is inevitably going to crash and is going to go lower. They essentially shorten the stock, so they borrow from the stock to be able to hold it. And then essentially when it crashes, they get some money for it. What happened was that a large amount of this started to occur, and large companies began to kind of shorten the stock. And when you shorten the stock, you also have to hold on, there's investments associated with it as well, and interest. Well, this group on Reddit essentially said, well, hold on a second. We don't want that to happen. So let's drive up GameStop's stock by purchasing a ton of it, basically ensuring that the hedge funds that were holding the shorts were essentially being squeezed. They could not sell it quick enough. And if they were selling it, they were selling it in extraordinarily high prices to be able to recop the shorts that they were having.
So they were taking a loss.
They're taking a massive loss. So GameStop stock has shot up to an incredibly high amount, basically because of a Reddit group. And a little bit of speculation that was going on as well. Of course, the e-commerce component of the Chewy individual coming on the board as well. And now it's at an exponentially high value where hedge funds are just losing dumps of money due to it and cannot get rid of it. And that's putting the Wall Street component of it in a hot pinch. And people are very, very unhappy. Now, the unfortunate reality is, sure, look it, that's how it works. You took a risk and you got kind of played a bit, and that is it. Mecha Dragon, I heard tons of billionaires lost everything. I don't
they
know.
Diversify. Yeah, they would.
I don't know if I'd say they lost everything.
I would say billions were lost. Yes. Yep. I don't think anyone particularly lost everything. You know,
not everything, but there was a hedge fund that actually had to be bailed out by other hedge funds to take on that loss. That is a pretty massive amount. Now, here's what I want to say. What I have just explained in 2 minutes is not really great. I'm giving like a Cole's Notes version of it. We put 2 videos on our Twitter page today to go check them out. They do a great job of explaining essentially how shorts work and what is occurring. Guys, what do you think of this? Like, this is kind of crazy.
First, it makes me wish I bought some when it was only 40.
Yeah.
Or $4 like it was back in March of 2020.
Right. So to be honest here, and full disclosure, I bought a share. I'm not going to say what I paid for it. And it has since went up over $100, and then it has gone down over $100. So I know I knew what I was getting into. I didn't expect this to actually. I knew this thing was going to tank at some point. It may or may not be tanking now. It might still be around, but this is, some people pay $60 for a game. I decided to pay a few $100 to play the stock market game. So and while I was in there, I also did buy some Nintendo shares. So I do have 2 shares of Nintendo stock for now. I probably will buy more later.
There you go. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, now let me also be very clear. GameStop is not the only company that this is happening to.
I bought one of those too.
There are a couple other ones. Are Bed Bath and Beyond, right?
Not that one, but AMC.
Right?
AMC
is another one. Why do I think there's another one? I thought American Airlines was one also. I could be completely wrong.
I don't remember an airline.
There was a Bitcoin type thing. What do you call those things? The
cryptocurrency?
Cryptocurrency that they were hitting too.
AMC BlackBerry. Thank you, Ebbisol.
BlackBerry's still a thing?
Dogecoin looks like Dogecoin.
Something like that. Yeah.
Is that like the meme?
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. So I think this is very interesting. Now, here's the reality of it.
Meme coin.
This could have been any other company like Lamps Are Us, but the reason this is interesting to us is because it's GameStop, right? We all have an affinity for it, and
or not.
or not, right? And the interesting part being is that there's one of the things that started the ball rolling in relation to the price beginning to go up, which essentially was originally just like speculated potential, which was with the individual coming in from Chewy. Now Chewy is, as I recall, like a pet food
online e-commerce,
online distribution.
And I have ordered from them.
Yeah.
They were just as expensive as Amazon was.
Before all this went down, we had this discussion because we couldn't talk about it on the Nintendo Dads show at that Thursday.
Oh, that's right. We talked about it during the dinner table.
We talked about it during dinner table. The topic of the CEO from Chewy.com coming on board along with another person, but the Chewy guy kind of
all three of them were. Well, all three of them were former Chewy execs.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them was CFO, CMO, and then CEO.
So and this guy already owns 12% of GameStop stock. He bought it back in August.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun talking about that speculation.
Yeah, and so that began to kind of bring up the price. Plus, you also have to remember that the Xbox and PlayStation, any console cycle launches for GameStop is good news despite a pandemic, right? So they started to just kind of see their number rise. And then the internet just decided to have at it. Now there's a whole different window that you can get into of whether companies like Robinhood should be stopping trade. We won't get into that, but it's been very interesting to watch in relation to GameStop. So,
yes,
I don't know. I wonder, the question that I would have, middle management, maybe upper management, one of the things that we sometimes typically see with benefit packages, right, along with like retirement funds, are stock options. So there are potentially a bunch of maybe managers or staff, maybe at GameStop, who bought into stock options, which would have said like basically just continue to buy stocks, right? So, hey, I give you $40 every paycheck and you buy GameStop stock, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there could be a bunch of those employees who have a schmattering, right, large amount of stocks that have basically now yo-yoed up and down. So it's kind of been interesting to watch. Mecha Dragon, so many gamers are getting into stocks now. I mean, between Tom Nook running the stock market in turnips and GameStop, you just learned about shorts. Like, ladies and gentlemen, video games gives you all the information you need to know.
Yes.
All right.
But it is getting a little ridiculous, I think, too, this topic of what's going on, and political stuff aside with that, whatever side you're on in that regard for whether they should be doing this or not, and whether like you said, the Robinhood should be blocking or not. It's skewing the real topic like we were trying to talk about, which is what are they going to do now with the Chewy guys coming on and making their suggestions and that suggestion of fully going e-commerce, and closing down a lot of stores and all that kind of stuff. So if anything was learned from Toys R Us, because I know myself, I miss Toys R Us in the States. I am lucky though, I can go right over the border to Canada when COVID's over and go to Toys R Us over there. But I still miss it locally, so because it was nice to be able to go that, especially around the holidays. And I'm going to miss GameStop, regardless. Yes, I don't like how they treat their employees, but my particular GameStop, their employees are really cool. They know their stuff. I don't know how they're treated because I never ask, but they seem to be okay there. They're really cool there. So I'm going to miss the GameStop if they close that. So. Yeah.
Mecca asks, I need to know if this is going to save or kill GameStop. It's not going to do a damn thing.
Yeah.
It's because this has nothing to do with GameStop's ability to make a profit. This is literally just people playing games with the stock market at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. People will probably, the positive thing is a couple things. GameStop is in the news. People then say, GameStop still exists.
Yeah, that's positive. Any press is positive press, right?
There may be people who then are like, I'm learning a bit more about it. So there's that. For some, like I said, for some employees, for some management, if they have diversified or if they have stocks or as stock options, might financially be good for them.
Depending on how they spin it too.
Yeah, depending on how they spin it, depending if they have that option, right? Like, so for example, My company allows me to buy stocks. I buy some every single paycheck, and I can like cash out my stocks at any time, right? So you can do those things. So it is interesting to kind of see how those things work.
It's just you do have to be careful about when you do things like that, because if you raise red flags for insider trading, that does not have positive consequences.
Yes, right. which is why a bunch of the board cannot actually sell their stocks. Right, there's only a limited amount of stocks that are available basically publicly for people to get access to, which helps to kind of cause a shortage and demand. Right, so basic supply and demand. So as the supply was running out and more of the firms and hedge funds trying to collect more of the stocks, basically this is where the Reddit group came in and said, everyone buy, goes in and buys, and they eat up the amount that is left, basically putting the squeeze on the hedge funds that are holding the shorts because they can't buy anymore to cover themselves. So now that drives the price up. Oh, you want my stock? Okay. $500. Do you know what I mean? So it creates this squeeze. But again, we got 2 videos on our YouTube video channel. Check them out. One of them's from IGN. Ladies and gentlemen,
I think the funniest part about this is a group of people who has been manipulating the stock market since the dawn of time are complaining that someone else is manipulating the stock market.
Yes.
All of a sudden now it's a bad thing. Boo hoo. We need to be bailed out. Like no. Don't
feel bad.
This is what happens when you... And then, of course, now they're trying to shut down Discord servers and Reddit subreddits because they're trying to... they and their group are trying to avoid the public from making them and their group.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't have it both ways. Play ball, man.
All right, gentlemen. Great topic conversation. Hopefully, again, folks, we didn't cover it as well as we should have. As much as I know my business just and stuff, stocks and trades and buying and selling, I've watched a lot of videos today and read a lot about it. So that's how I got my information on it. You should also be educated. Check yourself out. Gentlemen, I want to jump into a conversation here.
Only one?
Fun. Do we have a discussion button, a fun chatting button?
Nope.
Nope, good. Glad we don't have those buttons. Thank you. And maybe the chat can help us and play along as well. I want to know, gentlemen, what are the 5 games in 2021, as you know to be 2021, right? Most likely they're being released in 2021. Maybe they don't have a firm date, but you're like, feels like 2021. Are you the most excited for?
I'm cheating and opening up my future game release schedule because right now very little is coming into the top of my head. But yeah, I know. Well, the first game I know is that Persona 5
Strikers.
Is it? Yeah,
Strikers.
I thought it was not Strikers, but they called it something else.
Rumble Royal.
It is Strikers.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming out at the end of on the 23rd. My son is planning on buying the PS4 version, and he's pre-ordering to get a steelbook. And I'll be getting the Switch version.
Sweet, very nice. Okay, so that's one from you, Jesse. I'm gonna head over to Tim. Tim, what about you? What's one on your list?
Well, obviously everybody's heard me say this. I am definitely looking forward to the Monster Hunter Rise game. So yeah, that one I think is coming out 2021.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Right.
Yes.
All right. Of course, I can easily say Apex, but we're not going to talk about that one. I'm going to challenge myself to find 5 others. I'm going to say Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2, I'm hoping for. Jesse, back over to you. What's one of the ones on your list?
Okay, this was never officially announced by Nintendo, but it was announced as by Ubisoft as being in development.
Ooh.
It was supposed to have been released last week, but nothing happened. But the Prince of Persia: Sand of Time remake.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Right.
So that's still sitting at the top of my list because it should have been released a week ago.
You're a big Prince of Persia fan, are you?
I used to be. I didn't. I remember not liking the second game and only getting halfway through the third game, but I did play the first game.
Okay. Very, very cool. Tim, what about you?
The Axiom Verge 2.
You messer, because that was exactly what I was going to say too. Yes, Axiom Verge2.
Yes.
That was on my list as well. Okay,
I'm definitely
excellent.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully, now that was Tom Happ was originally, I think he said like they were aiming for last year. So I wouldn't be shocked if that one is soon. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be shocked if it's all of a sudden it's going to be in a like we have an indie world, and at the end of the episode, and at the end it's like, oh, and one more thing out today.
That'd be cool.
They were originally targeting like September, I think, 2020. So, but I know he put out a release. He's like, yeah, we're not quite there yet. We're delaying. So I won't be shocked if we see that one soon.
Yes.
All right, Jesse, we're back to you with number 3.
Okay, the new Pokemon Snap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm gonna buy it. I'm not going to like it as much as I thought I remembered liking the first one, but I'm still going to buy it anyway.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Tim?
I'm actually gonna, even though Jesse said it already, I'm gonna say Strikers as well, because that one I was looking forward to after playing the Japanese demo.
Okay. Someone was Malachi JC says, I thought it was Persona Scramble.
It was called Scramble in Japan, and the Phantom Strikers as a subtitle, but they changed it in North America to Persona 5 Striker.
Okay.
With no subtitle.
Got it. Okay. That's not confusing at all. All right. My number 3 is a game called Quantum League. Quantum League. This was a indie game that we saw back in, would have been, I think, May of last year. It's available right now on PC. It is a first-person shooter, basically arena game, where you manipulate time and you kind of have like 3 different runs of a game or of a match. That one definitely has my interest. It's very much a Justin game.
Sounds like it.
Tim's agreeing to it as well, or at least maybe it rings a bell true to you as well, Tim.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, gonna head over to you for your number 4.
I'm still looking forward to Chris Tales. That was announced like back in E3 2019. Had a demo mid last year, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not tired of this game yet, and I'm curious to know where the story goes, but looking forward to that one still.
Okay.
And I like the art style.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Tim.
Sports Story. I'm looking forward to seeing that sequel to the golf story. So I'm seeing how they're gonna do that one, and it looked like it was gonna be crazy fun. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that one.
Nice. Okay. I'm gonna head over to Shovel Knight Dig. This is not developed by, this is not developed by Yacht Club. It's published by Yacht Club. It's done by Netrom, which is the people who did Chicken Bomb. And it looks very cool. I'm very, very interested in this one. Heading over to you, Mr. Waldak.
Okay, here's another game that it hasn't been officially announced for the Switch, but
it's also your 5th and final, by the way, if my count is right.
Right, but previous games from this developer has been released on the Switch, so I'm presuming this one will too. It's called Welcome to the Information Superhighway. It's again, no idea if it's coming out this year or ever, but it is by the developers of World of Goo, 7 Billion Humans, Human Resource Machine. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those are my games.
Yeah, you and I definitely played.
Didn't like World of Goo as much, but I like the other two.
I thought World of Goo was great. I played that on the Wii. That was great. I liked that one a lot, actually. Tim.
Yes. So my 5th and final one, barring any surprise Nintendo games, obviously, because I was gonna say any surprise Nintendo game would be my 5th one, but I'm gonna say Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin, coming in the summertime. So hopefully I'll be, had my fill of Monster Hunter Rise and we'll be ready, and maybe not, and hopefully not, bored of the Monster Hunter stuff. That I'll want to get into stories too.
Okay. All right. My 5th and final one is Sea of Solitude. Sea of Solitude, which is coming out on March.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
4th.
one.
Yeah, that one. That was an EA Originals part of that program.
Yes.
That one definitely has my interest. I was very excited to see that there was an announcement for that. So that is on my list.
I should have said, too, when Jedi Fallen Order comes, to online,
as a streaming game.
streaming game, I should have said that one.
Let me. Can I do my Marty Estes impression here?
Sure.
Woo! All right, my 5 games are Chicken Wiggle, Chicken Wiggle, Chicken Wiggle, Chicken Wiggle, Chicken Wiggle.
It's not called Chicken Wiggle anymore, Marty.
I know. What is it? Hatch Story?
Hatch Tales.
Hatch Tales. God bless you, Marty. We love you very much.
Before we move on, I have a Nintendo honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
I'm still curious about what the Amico is going to do. I know you really enjoy it when I bring it up, but
no, it's I love that you love it.
That was supposed to be out last year, but got delayed, and I think the official release date is mid-April, with the Founders Edition supposed to ship early, so I'm looking at probably first or second week of April.
Sure, fair enough.
And just like the VCS, I'll be doing videos.
Nice. Yeah, Tim. Yes. You and the beanie, the toque question.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Based on what Jesse said, for a non-Nintendo type thing, I am very interested to see what will push me to get that PS5. Because right now I'm like, I can wait. Nothing's really pushed me. Plus the scrambling. I haven't had the time to hunt for one like a lot of people have over, during the holidays and stuff. So I just kind of left it to where if I see one in the store and I have the ability to pick it up, I'll pick it up then. Yeah. But something will probably come out too that maybe push it over the edge. And 2 things that come to mind is the new God of War game that I'm sure is going to be coming.
Ragnarok?
Yes. Or an Infamous game. If they come out with a new Infamous game, because I really love the Infamous series, especially with the Cole character. And if they came out with another, like a Infamous 3, because the last one they came out with wasn't necessarily a 3, it was just another Infamous game. If they came out with an Infamous 3 or something that continued the Cole story, even though if you played the game, you wouldn't think there would be a continuation. Anyways, if they came out with God of War, Ragnarok, or Infamous game, that will probably push me over the edge to get a PS5, and that would definitely get me excited in 2021 for a non-Nintendo type game system.
Fair enough. I like it.
Malik in the chat asks what happened to Lego Star Wars. It's 2 years late now. My notes say that it was announced E3 2019, and in August of 2020, it was announced to be delayed until this spring.
Yes.
So I think we're supposed to get it soon.
So I have it pre-ordered, and I forgot about that to put on my list, so that was a good call.
So still no date, but it's currently slotted in spring 21.
Yep.
Nice.
I definitely have it pre-ordered.
A couple other pieces in our chat here I want to just quickly respond to as well. Eric Peterson says 3D World, Tunic, Biomutant. Now, Biomutant actually just got a release date in May of 2021. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, and Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. Retro Logic, thank you very much for your cheers. Thank you very much. Mecha Dragon, you asked about a Shovel Knight mobile game. That is actually called Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. So they are still supposed to be coming out with that as well.
Someone looking forward to Pokemon Sleep?
No. Retro Logic also calls out Sly Cooper, Infamous 3, Rocket Robot on Wheels 2. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on there. So that is great. So that is the 5 games that we are looking forward to in 2021. Exciting stuff. Gentlemen, let's jump right into our events, will we?
Sounds like people are shooting at each other.
Right? Pew, 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 pew. Pow, pow.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pow, pow, pow.
You looking for this one?
Pow, 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 pow.
There you go.
Like both Tim and I were like giving it to you. We're like,
well,
come on.
As you know, I have more than one page of sounds. That is not on the same page as what I normally have up during the show. I have that as my stinger page.
Speaking of pages of sound, if you're a Patreon subscriber, check your inbox this week. You have got a real bonus track coming for you, where Jesse plays DJ Jesse and mixes all of our sound cues into one sound for you. It's going to be amazing. Jesse, talk to us a little bit about the Pokemon Go events. Give me a quick, 30-second high level this thing.
Okay, that's
it's a page of notes.
That's a lot of bullets for 30 seconds. But limited research tasks featuring Sneasel will be on January 30th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. local time. If you complete the field research tasks to receive encounters with Sneasel, which could be shiny. There's a Team Go Rocket timed... You made the same joke I made earlier. Team Go Rocket timed research event is going on now. Started on the 26th, going until February 7th at 8 p.m. local time. To complete the timed research tasks to receive an encounter with a Ho-Oh that knows Earthquake. Overlapping that will be a Team Go celebration event. Team Go Rocket is celebrating, but why? It's up to you to find out. Starting February 2nd at 10 a.m. through February 7th at 8 p.m. local time. The February research breakthrough encounter will be Snorlax from February 1st through March 1st at 1 p.m. Pacific time. The legendary raids for the month, Entei is going now. Raikou will be started on January 31st. Suicune on February 4th. Latios on February 9th, and then to coincide with the Pokemon Go Tour Kanto event on February 20th, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and Mewtwo will be in raids starting at 9 a.m. And they will continue until March 1st at 8 a.m. local time. That is all.
Wow.
Good stuff.
That was amazing.
Good stuff indeed. Yep.
I'm amazed how quickly you got through that.
Mecha Dragon asks if we all forgot about Pokemon Masters. Yes, we did.
Nope, didn't. Did not forget about it. It's just not on my radar. Let's see what else is going on here. Third Strongest Mole asks, but did you talk about the biggest news? Immortals Phoenix Rising DLC coming to Uno. that was it. I'm going to be honest with you.
I almost did add that to the notes. But
I scrolled through Twitter today and saw that, and I was like, here was actually my first reaction. I was like, there's Uno in Immortals Phoenix Rising?
No, it's the other way around.
And then I figured it was the other way, and I was a lot less excited. I was like, oh. But that is correct. The first DLC package.
The Ubisoft Cinematic Universe.
Right, coming together. There is a deal. The first DLC is out actually for Immortals Phoenix Rising. So I would say if you haven't, check that out. If you didn't buy the package. Also, the demo for Immortals Phoenix Rising is now on the Nintendo Switch. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out. And plus, they've been having some banger sales. I think it's at 50% off right now. So you could definitely pick that one up. A lot of us that were on our list of 2020 games of the year. So you might want to check that one out. Tim, have you jumped in back to Phoenix? You were big on Phoenix, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm still jumping in and out of it. It's like there's a lot to do in it. There's a lot of collecting in it, and or just getting through the story. And for me, it's easy to just jump back in and see, okay, what's my next task, and try to do that, knock it out, and then play something else or whatever. Yeah. So it can be a long game, or it could probably be done pretty quickly. What is it, like a 50-hour game or something like that?
I think so, yeah. Like pretty quickly. It's like 50 hours?
Just 50 hours, yeah.
How about that? Yeah,
compared to Breath of the Wild,
or Dragon Quest or Persona.
Or Dragon Quest or something like that, yeah. So it's more than your traditional, indie type game, but definitely not as long as your RPGs, I would say.
Yeah, that is fair. Gentlemen, let's jump into what we've been playing. Jesse.
Okay, so I talked about Donkey Kong last week because it was Monthly Mayhem. I ended up finishing the game, and when I mean finishing it, I got to the kill screen. So I put out a quick little video and put it on the YouTube channel showing what the kill screen looks like and why it's the kill screen. Mm-hmm. And the arcade kill screen is the exact same reason. It's just happens at a different point in the game. It's a lot earlier in the arcade. Like you can get it in about 2 or 3 hours of playing, where on the NES it was 8 to 10 hours maybe. I don't even know how long I played. Okay. I'll talk about that one last. Okay. The next game I'll talk about is Dragon Quest Tact, which was just released on mobile devices officially yesterday. It was downloadable the day before, but the servers are down for maintenance until 4 o'clock yesterday. So really you couldn't play it until yesterday afternoon. So it's very similar to the other Dragon Quest mobile game that I talked about last year. It's just instead of more like my party facing the opponent party in a turn-based battle, it's like Fire Emblem grid-based battle.
Okay.
And all the forms of monetization is like exactly the same. So it's it's got a story. I'm probably gonna do the same thing I did with the other game. Is I'll get as far into the story as I can go without having to like grind levels. And I think I'm just starting chapter 6. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I think I might have put 3 or 4 hours into it already. So if free to start, they do have a subscription model which is optional for less than $5 a month. That gives you. It opens up a super fast mode, so it plays through the battles 5-6 times the speed instead of just twice the speed. Okay, then last weekend we had my son over, my oldest daughter over, and her new boyfriend. So we thought that was a good time to break out Dominion, which is a board game, card game that we talked about on the dinner table back in December. We talked about at a board game discussion, and people hyped that game up, and I'm like, that sounds like a fun idea. I will buy it and give it to my wife for Christmas. And so we did a playthrough that, and the game is basically is you build a deck of cards, and then as part of building the deck of cards is like effect cards and money to buy more cards, but the real kicker is you have to buy victory points to ultimately win. But the more victory points you have in your deck is just a wasted card during your play, because you can't use them during your normal turn. So as a balancing act about when to buy more coin for additional purchasing power later, when to buy action cards, and when to buy the victory points. And my first time through, I did not do a good job. But I did find interesting ways for the action cards to combo each other. So I was able to pull off some pretty interesting combos with it. And there are the pack I bought is the base game and an expansion. So there's like 30 or 40 different sets of what they call kingdom cards. That you never use more than 10 in a game. Okay. Maybe 12 if you have more than 4 people. So I think so you can play 2 games back to back with a completely different set of kingdom cards, and it plays out completely different. You have to use different logic and strategies and combos to do, to get, try to get the victory points. Nice. So looking forward to playing that again. Along with it, I don't know if I ever talked about this on the show, but there was a Kickstarter early last year that called the Level Up platform. So I picked that up, and that was also delivered like within the same week as getting Dominion. It's basically a raised tier you put on your table. So you can set up your main board on the upper tier, which gives you more space on your table for your other cards, including.
Yeah, I bet you that comes in handy a lot.
Yeah, including you can put stuff under that raised tier.
Right.
Otherwise, what's the point? That was, we used that, and it was very useful. I put pictures of it in our Discord. Someone asked if it was sturdy. I'm like, oh yeah, it's got has rubber on the feet. I kind of gave it a little perpendicular pressure, and the thing didn't move. And it took effort to take it apart. So once that thing's together, it's not wanting to disassemble easy. So
no disassemble.
No disassemble, Johnny 5. So
nice.
Yeah, we will definitely be using that again. Now the
cool.
last game I want to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Can I make a statement?
Sure.
I'm going to say this. I don't even think you need to talk about it. I want people to go over to YouTube and watch it. Because as much as you can talk about it, I think it's the 25 minutes of watching you get frustrated that is pure entertainment and gold.
Yeah, I think I held my composure surprisingly well.
I think so, but I have known you for 6 years, and that is the angriest I have ever seen you get at a video game, and it is the funniest thing I've ever watched. On camera. And the best part was your statement at the end, you're like, you tried as much as you could for me not to like. I can't remember what it was, but it was a beautiful line of like, I want to like your game despite you, and it was just like, and it was like end of video. I was like, wow. Jesse rage quits a game. It was awesome to watch. Go over to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's Heaven's Vault.
What game is that?
Game is Heaven's Vault. The embargo for that video was midnight Eastern time last night, and that's the exact moment we posted it. So check back 24 hours.
I'm gonna drop it in our Twitch chat right now because let me tell you, folks, it was absolute gold.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping that company's not going to come back to us and say, "Could you send me the link to your coverage?" And I'll be like, "Well, I can. You're not going to like it though, but I can."
Apparently, this was a game that was released on PC and PS4 2 years ago, and it was critically well.
Yeah,
like 70s and 80s.
Yeah, it's got a lot of actually like BAFTA awards or something like that too. Like it's nominated.
I don't know if I played a different game or what, but
well, I like your comment. Like somebody didn't play test it on the Switch or something when they released it.
Yeah. Yeah, I showed my son like the last 5 minutes of a video. Even just that little bit was, I do not like what I saw.
Yeah. That's fair. That is fair. We don't like every game we get, and we have to be honest with it as well, right?
Yes.
So
that's correct.
Awesome, Jesse. Thanks very much, pal. Tim, let's over to you.
Sure. I actually downloaded the Bravely Default 2 demo and played a little bit of that because I don't normally go for. I tried Bravely Default on the 3DS a long time ago. So, and found out that wasn't my type of JRPG type game. So I knew I wasn't going to go for Bravely Default 2. So I didn't bother with the demo. But when I got the email that said, "Hey, check out the demo, and if you play it, long enough, you get 100 platinum coins," I was like, "Sure, I'll go do that. I'll go give it a try for 100 platinum points because I'm trying to save my points up for whatever Zelda stuff to come out with."
Didn't they just put a poster like for 1,000 points?
Yes, they did. It was I don't know if it was called a poster because it's thicker than a poster. I forget what they called it, but something acrylic.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Hyrule Warriors Acrylic Art Award? Now, how was that available in Canada, but I couldn't get the frickin' keychains for Splatoon?
Who knows? See, but let me be more specific. I'm hoping for 25th and 35th anniversary edition of Zelda stuff. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm trying to save my points for.
I think I have like the 20th or 25th anniversary poster of like the Zelda, not a timeline in terms of where the plot is, but the timelines of the games that were released in that order. And
I have that.
I still have
too.
That's hanging up in my hallway still.
Yeah, I have that one and the Mario one, I think too. So, but so I played that. But actually, I really enjoy the animation in that game. So I'm still playing it a little bit, just checking it out. I don't think I'll buy it because I know I won't spend enough time on it to make it worth it. But the demo will probably be just enough for me to, get a feel for it and get some enjoyment out of it.
I should give the demo a try.
It is I really like the animation.
The first one, but we'll.
So, there's jobs in it. Don't you like the job system, Jesse?
I don't like job systems generally.
Okay. So maybe you might not.
Which is why I stopped playing the original DS game.
Okay.
Or 3DS game, because I needed a job that I didn't have to be strong against the first boss. And I'm like, I'm not grinding.
Gotcha.
30 minutes in the game, and the game wants me to grind. No.
Right. So yeah,
At least it was a rental. I just returned it to GameFly at that point.
That's good. Playing with that, and so enjoying, like I said, the animation is what's keeping me intrigued, and a little bit of the story too. It actually drops you in way after the prologue and all that kind of stuff. I think in chapter 1 somewhere. So you got some things that you already have, some equipment and all that kind of stuff. So I'm still learning more about it and what to do with it and all the nuances between, the default system or whatever it's called and all that kind of stuff. So that starts getting into the stuff I don't usually like, because it's getting like, I already spend a lot of my brain power for work and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to spend it on a game. So, but I'll still dabble with it. That's what the demo's for, right? Mm-hmm. So Animal Crossing New Horizons, of course, a little bit before the download today and then the update today. Of course, I played a lot more today, trying to see what was there, if there was anything there, and it was just the seasonal stuff right now. And even though I kind of put a little bit of a dig on the Christmas type, stuff, that I was disappointed in that. The snowman thing too, I was really disappointed in at the beginning. I've actually gotten better at making snowmen. So it's actually been, every time I make a snowman, I got a perfect snowman. I'm getting my,
Are you able to eyeball it, or are you using the
it's all eyeball it.
I'm not trick?
Yeah, I'm not doing the 10-path trick. I didn't want to do that. So
do you every time you make a snowman think to yourself, do you want to build a snowman?
Every doggone time, yes.
Right?
Doggone every movie.
Time. Let it go.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Nice one. And the last one.
Nice one?
Ice one, yes.
Oh, yeah. Get out of here.
The last one that I've been playing is just recently today too, because I wanted to jump into this. It's called Disjunction. It's a game that I got the review code for today, released today, and it is a top-down. How do I want to put this? It's a top-down. You do pick a stealth type game, so you do have choices you get to pick in the story that determine where the story is going to go. You also have choices that you do in the game. It's a stealth-based game. Did I glitch there? I saw it.
You did for a moment.
Am I back? All right. So it's a stealth-based game where you hide in the shadows. You crouch so people don't hear you. You sneak up on people and either go by them, or you can take them out and drag their bodies into the shadows so nobody finds them. So it does. I don't play a lot of these, so I'm sorry I don't have a more recent example to compare it to. But going back to Metal Gear Solid, a game that I did play, that I kind of remember some of the stealth elements of that. It reminds me of those. But the animation reminds me of oh shoot, I can't remember the name of the game right now. But I'll have to think. It's pixelated animation.
That narrows it down, Tim.
I know. It's I'm trying to think of the doggone games that I played that had that. So, but it's a cyberpunk environment as well, and basically the story is it's actually quite interesting. It's I think 2039, and the economy's collapsed, and there's a new drug on that's affecting people, both rich and poor, called shards. And there's a person who was representing the poor community that was highly regarded, that is framed for the murder of a police officer, the chief of police. And he was found with these shards, and so he was put under arrest and all that kind of stuff. And you basically, what I found at the beginning of the game is you're trying to find out what's actually happening and see if you could disprove the setup, essentially. So so the first level I just started playing, like I said today, was going into this hospital, or this place where you have to get some evidence, and you're hiding in the shadows, hiding from security, who isn't just regular security guys. They're, they got some you got some weapons that will take you out. So it's actually pretty fun, and it's intriguing, and it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I'm enjoying it a lot so far. And I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I'll probably do a Let's Play video of it sometime this weekend. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice. Very cool. That's all for you, Tim, yeah?
That's all.
Hey, Tim, let me ask you this. Have you had a chance to play Hitman 3?
I have not yet, unfortunately.
That's okay. Not a problem. Thought I'd ask because it's a transition, because I was hoping maybe we could chat about Hitman 3.
Yeah, I wanted to so bad, but those games that I played were something I could jump in real quickly.
Yeah.
Because I do know a little bit of Hitman 3 from what you've done videos on, and I didn't want to just jump in for a little bit and leave it. I wanted to spend a little bit more time, which I'm hoping to be able to do this weekend as well. So
okay, fair enough. Well, I'll give you kind of my synopsis of it. Big thanks to IO Interactive for providing us a code, a couple codes actually, to Hitman 3 Deluxe Edition. Now, of course, this is on the Nintendo Switch, so this is the cloud version that we are talking about, and I'll talk about that in a couple of moments. I was interested in jumping into Hitman 3. I have never played a Hitman game before, but the trailers, the advertisements, the reviews that were coming into it definitely had my interest. So again, I do want to say again, I'm fortunate enough because the deluxe edition has like a bunch of bundles and like additional levels, so there is all that. But I will say I'm having a fair bit of fun with Hitman 3. Speaking of that stealth element that you were talking about before, Tim, like you have to be stealthy on this. It's not a run and gun game. You have to problem solve. You have to kind of knock people out, take over their disguises, solve basically how you're going to murder someone in a various different ways. So there's a puzzle. There's definitely a very cool puzzle element to it. And you can't just kind of like, I can just put on a costume, walk up and kill someone, walk away. There's lots of other people that are suspicious of you. There are different methodologies to kill someone. So there is a lot of really, it's a very interesting game. So I'll give you, I was playing the first level. You're in Dubai. You have two contracts you have to kill there. And one of them, like I kind of basically, spoiler alert, you basically end up kind of disguising yourself as their personal security for the day. And the other security guard walks away, and he's at the edge of this kind of the helicopter pad. He's like, man, it's amazing here, and I love it. And then it says, like kick him over the edge. And it was like, yep, boom. And so we just like kick him right off the edge. And I was like, cool, one done.
Yes.
And then the second guy I had to kill, what I ended up doing. Now, again, you could solve these puzzles in Marriott different ways, right? That was how I killed that one. The second one, I ended up poisoning his drink as kind of like one of the servants. He got really sick and went to the bathroom to throw up. I kind of followed him in there, closed the door, and then I drowned him in the toilet.
Yes.
So it was just, but again, I could have knifed him. I could have done like a whole bunch of different, I could have shot him. There's a whole bunch of different things. It was really, really cool. And the nice part about it is after you finish that level, like it kind of says, here's a level, here's what you've accomplished. Now we have different challenges in here. Now try and kill this person. Try and do it with this. So there's a lot of, each level has a lot of replayability, which I think is really, really cool. That's
what I was reading about, was like different ways of silently doing it, or better ways, more efficient ways you learn. And there's even things after doing it, you open up to be able to do again later.
And there's different difficulty levels as well. I was like, there's like casual, medium, and then difficult. And I was just on casual, right? So like, there are not as many suspicious guards, so it was really, really cool. Yes. So there's a lot there. And then there's another option there where there's just like a different kind of game type, which is sniper. And it's literally, you're sitting on a hill and you are a sniper. And there's like a wedding that you're at, and you have to kill 3 targets. And like you have X amount of bullets, but you can't move. So you have to like figure out like where the shot is. When it was really, it was very cool option. And I really like that. Now I want to go back and talk a little bit about the cloud version of this.
Before you do, G. Akers asks if there are non-lethal options.
Non-lethal options to take down folks. Like, so I would say everyone so your task is to eliminate the 2 targets for sure, right? So they're like, that's definitely lethal. You have to kill them. Everybody else you can just subdue. So like if I'm going to take over one of the guards, I can subdue him, knock him out, like choke him out, not kill him, but it will actually say like, as you're choking, it's like hit Y to subdue, X to break his neck, and you're like, well, one of those you're not coming back from, right? So my general rule is I try and subdue people, and then I drag them into like a locker. I take their clothes and I put them in a locker. I feel like that's reasonable.
Yes.
So that would be the non-lethal, I guess. But your actual like targets, and you don't have to. I don't know. Could the guy have died of just poisoning? Possibly. And maybe
still lethal.
And maybe the guy that fell off the building top in Dubai is okay.
He landed in a pool.
Just landed in a pool and he's fine. But the game considered him not dead or dead. So let me talk a little bit about its performance on Switch. For the most part, I haven't had any huge issues. However, and again, this is a cloud version. Today, when I went back to play it, and I was getting to that final scene where I was killing your man in the toilet, it stuttered badly. Ooh. And like it was, it's that final thing. It's that one thing you're trying to accomplish in the level. It's a final moment. It's kind of the climax of the level. Mm-hmm. And then for it to stutter and I was like trying to move left and he was like slowly moving and it wasn't working and that like sucks. I've got the buttons to like it says drown him in the toilet and I'm like 5 feet behind him and I was like no. Yeah. So I found that frustrating. I will say that is the first time that I've had like a cloud version stutter problem where I was like, ooh, this isn't good.
So like, over Wi-Fi really or Ethernet?
Wi-Fi. The kids were both home, so they're probably both streaming something on Netflix and chatting with somebody. Mm. But it was definitely so. Again, that's a cloud version, right? So you have to kind of keep that in mind. I've been enjoying it. If you could pick it up on other consoles, maybe. Again, how you feel about whether you're on streaming games, how much you own. I know the conversation last week was, should streaming games be full price games? And I think that if you have an option between the two and it's the same price, probably picking it up on an actual console, right? An actual Xbox or PlayStation 5 is probably the smarter because you don't have to deal with those kind of issues that I have. I think it's very interesting that this is the first game, right, of 2021 as a big title release, and it was a day and date game with next generation consoles.
Yes.
It was next gen on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S or whatever it is, X, whatever it is, and it was day and date on Nintendo Switch Cloud version. Yes. That was strategically a very interesting move. And they also said it's going to be the same price. Now, I suspect IO Interactive set that price. The other article I read this week was that IO made back all of their money in the first week of the game being out, of their development costs. Yeah. That's pretty massive. I'd be very interested in seeing the sales breakdown of which console sold how many. I think that'll be interesting. Should streaming games have the same price as a physical or digital release game? I understand why a business does that, but if we want more people to get into
because they can?
But if you want to get more people into streaming, you have to have that price different. You have to have that lower. Because essentially, I know the conversation is you're just renting a game. You are right. I am renting access to this game. Right? That's what I'm renting. I don't have if the server goes down or I'm not in Wi-Fi, I don't have it. Right? So should those games be the same? I would argue if you want people to jump in on board on it, you need to find incentive for them to do that. And to incentivize people to jump into streaming means the cost has to be lower than what their normal game is, what their normal costs are. And so I think that's something that streaming games have to look at doing. And I think that's where some games or platforms like Stadia struggle, right? I can buy Jedi Fallen Order for full price on Stadia, where Stadia might shut down in 4 years or 3 years, or I can have an actual copy of it in my hand or an actual on my hard drive, right? Yeah. So I mean that's the challenge of streaming.
At least the Luna, everything is like tiered access, like Netflix or Game Pass. You buy a subscription, you have access to end games. You buy the larger one, then you have all of them, which includes the Ubisoft games. Yeah. So if I decided to, I ever wanted to play Phoenix Rising, I would just give Amazon $15, play the game, then cancel my sub.
Yeah, exactly. So in general, I would say this about Hitman 3. I'd recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Check out your connection. And maybe if you want to pick it up somewhere else, you know, and that works better for you, especially depending on your Wi-Fi. But Hitman 3 is fun. And Tim, I'm very excited to hear what your commentary is on it next week as well. A couple other games that I've been playing I want to talk about. Sword of the Necromancer. This came out today on the Nintendo Switch. And this is a action RPG with rogue-lite elements, with an anime-style opening, and all their cinematics are like anime-style cuts.
Your favorite.
But the graphics inside are 8-bit pixel, are 16-bit pixel graphics. So it's a very cool kind of contrast. It reminds me at times of Moonlighter from a little bit of the graphics and the art style, a little bit of a link to the past, a little bit of Chrono Trigger. It's very cool, but the really cool thing in this game is that your sword actually, after you've defeated an enemy, your sword kind of like brings them back to life, and they turn into your ally, and you put them in like your inventory slot. So like your X or Y button. So when you're going into a battle, you actually recall them out, and they fight on your behalf. So it's actually kind of a really cool mechanic. The other thing I really like about it from a roguelike, I think we're so used to like in roguelikes, when you die, you lose your kit or you lose your life, right? You can actually turn that feature off, which is so cool. So if you die, you don't lose your kit and you don't lose your life, which is a really cool feature to kind of allow for accessibility. The other really cool part about it is it's actually local co-op play as well. So you can have 2 players play it. It's really cool art style. It's a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it. Again, that game is Sword of the Necromancer. I've got some videos or a video out on our YouTube channel that you can check it out. But check out some screenshots as well. I definitely would recommend picking it up. It's a ton of fun. And the final game I've been playing is Cyber Shadow, right? Came out this week as well. This is the publisher of this is Yacht Club Games. This is guiding. It feels like the Batman movie. It feels like Ninja Turtles. It feels like DuckTales at times. This is such an homage to the 80s and the NES platform, and I am absolutely in love with Cyber Shadow. I have been having a ton of fun with it. One of my favorite parts about it is that it is endless life. So there's no life meter. You can die as many times. You can keep trying back. You're back really quickly. It's challenging but rewarding. It doesn't feel unfair. I would, like, if I was to say of the 3 games, which one would I recommend you pick up if you've only got a limited budget? If you're a kid of the 80s or kids of the 80s and 90s and played like your NES and played some of those games I mentioned, it feels like Contra at times. Cyber Shadow is definitely the one I would recommend. Also, if you are on Game Pass, it's on Game Pass. If you have an Xbox, it's on Game Pass. Pick it up, try it out. It is a ton of fun.
Yeah, I forgot about it. I did play a little bit of this as well, and so I added it to the notes, not knowing that you were going to bring it up. But yeah, I didn't get very far. I am playing it because of Game Pass, which is like, and I think I'm really only got to early chapter 2 or level 2, whatever. And where like the first time they have the blue birds that fly in a sine wave, and they just knock you right into a pit. I'm like, okay, this, I haven't gotten past that part yet. But
sure.
Marty's, when I talked to him yesterday, he thinks he's like halfway through it already. So I'm sure next time he's on, he'll talk it up.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. I would highly recommend it.
Hey,
Gentlemen,
Justin.
Yeah, Tim.
Just really quick, I was trying to look up the game. I was trying to think of in regards to the animation for Disjunction, what it reminded me of, and it's Hyperlift Drifter.
Oh, Hyperlight Drifter?
Hyperlight Drifter, yeah, sorry. That's the same type of animation that I see in Disjunction.
Nice.
Like I said, in a cyber, punk world type thing. And some of the other things I forgot to mention, as you guys were mentioning, some of the things gameplay you were mentioning too, and Disjunction was that there are things you have a gun, you have a taser, I think it is, and then also a smoke bomb to help distract people to be more stealth. So there's those elements of it as well. So I wanted to make sure I called those out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter. I got that on sale actually on the eShop. I haven't played it yet. It was on like a dirt sale and I picked it up. So.
Yep.
All right, those are our games we've been playing. Let's head over to our community spotlight. Tim, do you want to cover our community spotlight questions?
Absolutely. As my, switch is, overheating over here, you can hear it in the background. So, no. All right. So, Brandon Hallworth, a question from email. Are there any games that you want or went into knowing was going to be terrible, but left loving it? Any games that you went into knowing was going to be terrible, but left loving it?
I was trying to think of something, but nothing is coming to mind. Definitely have had games go the other way.
Like recently.
I shouldn't say maybe loved it, I don't know. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I picked that one up because it's kind of outside my genre of games I typically play, and I was kind of expecting to not like it and be disappointed in it. And I very, very much enjoyed it, actually, and kind of wish I'd actually kind of spent more time going back to it. And I'm still very interested actually picking up Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition because I want to add that to my collection. So I think that's probably an example of just a game that was outside of what I thought I was going to think about it, and ended up really liking it, actually. Usually I just think of is there a game that Jesse likes and recommended? I would probably hate that. And then I go from there. Tim, what about you?
This one, Octopath Traveler.
Oh.
I actually, again, I'm not a big JRPG type gamer or even RPGs for the most part because of how complex they can get and how long you can play, especially the grinding part. I don't typically like to grind a lot. I want to just keep going and going and going. And I do like to build up my characters though at certain times so that I can plow through sections. So I guess if it's worth it, I will grind, I guess. But Octopath was one that the animation is what drew me in, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So that's definitely one that I put on that list.
Okay. Jesse?
Well, I'm going through my collection here and seeing if anything jumps out. I wouldn't say that this is a game I thought was terrible, but it was just a game that I had low expectations for because of the type of game. But I really liked Chicken Police. I talked about that several months ago.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah, it's like a visual novel type of game with mixed with with point and click adventure elements. Yeah. With photorealistic and people with photorealistic animal heads.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Very weird.
Yeah, very weird. I actually thought of another one, Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay.
Because I had never played Animal Crossing. It would not have been something I would typically have done. I was pretty skeptical about it, but I was trusting the folks here, and so. So I think that went from I shouldn't say hating it, but like I didn't know what I was getting into. I probably was not feeling like it was going to be very success, and I very much obviously love that.
Very good, very good. It'd be cool if to get Marty's perspective on his too. So hopefully, if he's listening, he would be able to pop that in there, or we can present that to him next time. But next question is from our Discord. It's from Dan from the Retro Logic show. So don't forget to listen to those guys over there for your retro stuff if you're into retro gaming. And of course our other ones too for Dad Crossing and our Dads After Dark. Quick throw in of our plugging of our other shows there. So if you had to do a 2-hour presentation totally unprepared on a gaming topic or franchise, what would it be?
I will say the future, the future of streaming games. I feel like I could cover 2 hours of that.
I'm gonna say the impact of not having physical gaming stores.
Oh, wait, I'd be very interested in that presentation.
I would be too if I could figure that one out. But you said unprepared, so I figured I would try to get as prepared as possible.
I avoid public speaking as much as possible.
I
But
agree.
yeah, I would probably, pick a franchise that I know a lot about and had like some. I don't know what I would talk about exactly, but either something about Zelda or a Dragon Quest, maybe similarities between games of the common themes. Final Fantasy does this a lot too. So something around in that area.
Cool. All right. So next show we'll have our presentation, right? We'll have
The
our
episode says
presentation.
GME
Okay.
stonks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did when this topic came up, I mentioned that even though I wasn't unprepared, there was a couple hour presentation I helped put together with another friend of mine that he wrote it up, but I had to come up with the slides for, and I actually used, instead of using just PowerPoint slides, I used Prezi. I don't know if you guys heard of that before. And made it all fancy and floaty and spinny and all that kind of stuff. And so when we presented it at UMACon a few times, a couple of years in a row, it was well received, and it was about the history of Nintendo. And
Nice.
I shared the link to that Prezi presentation. There's no talking in it, so there's no narration, but you can spin through all the different bullet points and stuff. So
Cool.
it was fun memory to relive. But
Well, while we're on this topic, it kind of reminds me of when I was in college, taking a public speaking class. Like the last assignment of the class was pretty much what the assignment was, except for it was only you had to talk like 3 or 5 minutes worth on whatever topic, and the topic was literally drawn out of a hat, and so you had like 2 minutes to think about it, and then of what you wanted to do,
Okay.
and then you did it. And what I drew out of the hat was poker. That was like in the
Nice.
peak of my poker playing,
nice.
and so I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
That's awesome.
You got lucky on that one.
Yeah, I drew my golden topic.
Nice. All right, and unless we have a voicemail, that I don't think we do, but this will be our last thing for Twitter, from Twitter.
Yeah, no voicemails this week.
Okay. From Mecha Dragon 101, coming in the clutch, always having something every week for us. Specifically in gaming, what was something that made you feel old? Like hearing someone say that the Wii was their first video game console. What was something that made you feel old
And
that was mentioned in gaming?
Yeah, so when Super Mario 3D World or All-Star came out in September, I remember scrolling through Twitter and I remember seeing someone's post of like, oh man, awesome. I love playing Sunshine. It was my first Mario game ever. And I was like, oh, I hate you so much.
Yeah.
So that one made me definitely feel old.
Mine happened probably 10-ish years ago. It was when I first started writing for VG Tribune. So 2010-ish, 2011-ish. And someone made a comment that they thought the N64 was retro. I'm like, it has only been 15 years. So, no, not really, but okay. Now,
Sure.
definitely, it would be classified as such. Just, 20, 25 years old now.
Yeah.
But, generally, it's, I think, 20 years since the console's launch is when it's retro. And that's when, if that's your first console growing up, is...
You're
20 years
nostalgic for
later
it.
is you got a job, you have expendable income, you want to relive that.
Yep.
So
And that's exactly what I'm going with, is the same thing that Justin mentioned, and kind of along those same lines. With when 3D All Stars came out, it reminded me of my oldest, who is going to be 26 this year. That was her generation stuff, So it was basically Super Mario World, Super Mario 64 on the N64, and then that's when I came into her life, with marrying my wife and stuff like that, and saw her playing that, and then we played Sunshine together on the GameCube, and then when the Wii came out, we had the Galaxy games and stuff, and I just kind of watched her play those games at the time. But yeah, when that came out, it was like, okay, remaster of all those games, and we talked about this too. Is like we weren't too keen, especially on some of those games, right? They were just re-releases and stuff like that.
We wanted a remaster, not an enhanced emulated.
But a lot of people that played it for the first time were going back and playing it, and it was all based on nostalgia, right? So that's probably where it did the best, because it did sell well. So maybe because of the limited version of it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Evacella in the chat here says Justin's hot take as an ageist or age discrimination.
Hot take. Yeah, I apologize, Evacell. Recently, I have been reminded about how old I am. I'm turning 40 this year, so I'm feeling maybe cranky old for some of that stuff. So,
poor Justin turning 40.
I'm not saying how old I am.
I know. I think I'm the youngest out of all of us, actually. But
I think I'm only within months of Tim. I think I'm just a little bit older than him. But he's close.
If it came off as ageist, you're welcome. I actually had a parenting.
See the gray in the beard?
Yeah.
Mine. You can't see it underneath these headphones, but it's all up in here.
Can't see it underneath the hair dye.
What was I going to say? I had a moment. Speaking of like nostalgia and like feeling old today, actually, I had this moment that I felt like I failed as a parent. So we have a box downstairs in our spare areas where we kind of keep all the Nintendo stuff. And my daughter was down there, and we have a N64 in a box with some games. We haven't plugged it in yet because we're kind of borrowing it from a friend or from a family member. And then we have the NES. And so she was down here kind of cleaning up stuff, and I was like, "Hey, where's the NES? Like where'd that box go? Because it's not ours, right? I'm concerned about it." I was like, "Hey, where's the NES?" And she walks over and points at I apologize. I said, "Where is the Nintendo 64?" And she walks over and points at the NES and said, "Dad, it's right there." And I was like, "I am failing you as a father." So.
Yeah. Pointing at the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Started the original Nintendo, and it was not the N64. And I was like, "I am failing you. I am failing you. You are a lost cause, child." So, he was when he started the show 6 years ago. There you go. All right. I'm getting picked on now. I thought you were in your mid-40s. Yeah, mid-40s is slowly starting to creep away. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is that a show?
That's our show.
I think so. Before we do the sign-offs, I want to do a plug.
Okay.
So,
hair plugs?
No. Are we,
other plugs?
Yes.
Go ahead and plug yourself, Jesse.
So our newest patron is a co-host of the Nintendo Nostalgia podcast, of which I guest hosted in their latest episode.
Nice.
Where I brought in as their featured game to discuss Zelda 2.
Ooh,
since I recently finished that run a few weeks ago.
Very nice. So make sure you check out that episode. Yes, Timothy. Yes, over you. Yes, you, sir, in the front row.
Speaking of, plugging things, I might as well do the same. I'm going to be on the Nintendo Pals this week, so I'll be on there. So if you listen to Nintendo Pals, go check them out if you don't. But I'm going to be a guest host on there too. So.
Well, if we're plugging stuff, let me plug what I'm on. Actually, I have an episode of We the Gamercast with Sean Capri is coming out in the coming weeks. Sean and I sat down this last Monday and recorded for about 2 hours as we do. So that will be coming out soon as well. So apparently you're going to be able to find all three of us at various different spots. But if I'm plugging guests and I'm plugging what we're doing, I would be remiss if I did not mention that in 2 weeks from now, on February 11th, we'll be having a special guest come into the studio and join us. And ladies and gentlemen, it is none other that Mr. Seth Macy from Nintendo Voice Chat will be joining our crew in 2 weeks from now, breaking down all the Nintendo nerdy parenting news like we do every single week. We're excited to have Seth join us as well.
The Super Ninfrendo himself?
Super Ninfrendo himself will be joining. So we're very excited to have Seth joining us as well. So we are very, very pumped for that.
Off of his what do you call it? His temporary
permanent position?
Yeah, temporary permanent position of NVC. Yes.
I sent him a message. I was like, you can have a permanent spot with us. Like, that's fine. Jeff Grubb also said, he's like, I'm thinking of starting my own Nintendo podcast. I was like, or I can kick out Marty. And you can join us. So I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah, I'm sure if I wasn't here, you'd say I would kick off Tim.
No, I'd stick with Marty still. Yep, still there one. That one, yep.
All right, fine.
A couple other things I want to move over to and say last couple of words here. First, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This last week, we had a milestone for us that was actually pretty significant. And it sounds kind of weird, but thanks to you guys, we actually passed 5,000 subs or subscribers over on YouTube. And I know that sounds just like a weird number, but for us as a small channel that has kind of been slowly building over 6 years, that was a pretty big accomplishment for us. So we're very proud of that. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone that watches our videos. We publish videos almost every single day. We have a community, we have a group of content creators who do Let's Plays and first looks and a lot of content. And we have videos coming out almost every single day because of the hard work and hustle that they do. So thank you just for showing up and showing them some love and watching that stuff and commenting. And that's so incredible for us. So thank you so much for that. My other comment I will say is we still have t-shirts for Gaming for Guru over on our TeePublic and our Redbubble stores. 100% of those proceeds continue to go to Gaming for Guru. So please, if you want to get yourself a t-shirt, absolutely you can do that there. Again, 100% of those proceeds will continue to go to them. I also want to make a quick update on the Gaming for Guru component of it. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that know, we've been doing our Gaming for Guru, helping to raise funds for Bobby Pauls during his hospitalization with COVID-19. I'm very pleased to announce that as of today, just as an FYI, we have crossed over $21,000 raised for the Gaming for Guru kind of initiative. We kind of jumped in when it was about $8,000 or $9,000, and for the fundraising that we did for the charity stream with 10 other content creators have helped raise over $10,000. So thank you so much. Round of applause to everyone who supported that and everyone who helped out there as well.
And
Definitely.
Last night we did a live stream of drawing of probably a dozen or almost 24 prizes, and then Sean went offline and continued drawing prizes, and I think he's still doing it because there was a lot of things to draw, and so I think that replay probably is visible on Twitch still, and I did save a video and uploaded it to YouTube that we'll probably post soon as thumbs and descriptions are written.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll maybe try and get that post out tonight, actually. A couple other things I want to draw our attention to. We like to give away stuff. That is something that we do here at Nintendo Dads, and we are currently giving away a copy of Super Mario 3D World that's coming out on February 12th, plus Bowser's Fury. So if you want to go over to our Twitter page, there is a spot where you can actually enter to get in the draw. And we will ship that game or send it or get it to you worldwide, however you want it. The draw closes the day the game launches. So check out our Twitter pages. It is our pinned tweet. You can enter, and there's tons of ways to enter and get on top of that as well. Gentlemen, am I forgetting any other pieces of business before I do our final outs?
Probably, but I don't know.
Fair enough. I appreciate your honesty, Tim. I'm going to say this. Thank you to everyone that joins us in the Twitch chat. Thank you for the chat, the conversation. It's always great to be supported. We appreciate that. Same with our YouTube chat. We greatly, greatly appreciate that. I want to give a big special thank you to our Patreon producers. That's Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberg, Antonio Contrario, and Christopher Waring. Thank you so much for your, again, being amazing executive Patreon producers. You want to find out more about Nintendo Dads, go over to our website, nintendodads.org. That has our latest YouTube videos, tweets, and podcasts, links to all of our social media and our Patreon page. Plus, you can stop by our Nintendo Dads shop and pick up any sweet Nintendo Dads merch. You can, of course, also find us on social medias, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch, just by typing in Nintendo Dads. All you gotta do is go type Nintendo Dads. If you're on any of that site, hit subscribe, like, whatever the follow button is as well. Of course, you can also email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 925-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix, which is the music you hear throughout the show. And of course, if you're downloading our show on a podcast, head over to your podcast catcher of choice, whether it's Apple Music, CastBox, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or Spotify. Go into the review section and 4 or 5 star reviews. That's all I'm asking, right? Put in some words, put in whatever you want. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we hope for. For myself, for Jesse, for Tim, and for a missing Marty Estes, have a fantastic week. Be kind, be good, love somebody else, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo dads all of a sudden.